This is the Purple Passion Project with host and clinical sexologist, Dr. Stacy Friedman. This is your go-to podcast for raw, real, and irresistibly juicy conversations about sex, intimacy, connection, and everything in between. Whether you're feeling a little stuck in your love life, curious about what turns you on, or just craving conversations that actually matter, you're in the right place. So now, please welcome the host of the Purple Passion Project, Dr. Stacy Friedman.
What do you get when you mix purple, passion, and permission to be your true self? This podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Stacy, and this is the Purple Passion Project, coming to you live and unfiltered. This is the show where we talk sex, intimacy, connection, and everything underneath the surface, because let's be honest, small talk is boring, and you're ready for the good stuff. So relax, drop your guard, and get ready for truth, laughs, maybe a few gasps, and a whole lot of passion. Today, everybody, we are going to be talking about an episode that you do not want to miss. We are going to dive deep into layers of shame, nervous system healing, emotional safety, and how all of this stuff connects to intimacy and pleasure. So our guest that we have today is Emma Lyons. I'm going to bring her on in just a second. And she is a transformational healer. She decodes trauma. She helps women break up with shame. And if it's been sabotaging their power, she's the one to go to. If you've ever felt like you've done all of the inner work and still feel stuck in having guilt or burnout, or like you're performing your way through life, this episode's for you. Get cozy, open your heart, and let's welcome Emma.
Wow, Stacy, thanks for a great introduction. I love the energy of this podcast. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited to talk with you because I want to be able to talk about the nervous system and the trauma and how we can feel safe to receive all the good, juicy stuff that we need in our lives. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Yeah, so great to be here. This is such an important topic, especially for women, because women, we carry so much shame and it affects everything, sexuality, money, across the board. It's so connected. And it's all, I notice in my life that the fear of receiving is so interconnected with this idea of shame.
Absolutely. Yeah. I see it every day in my practice. So this is definitely a good subject.
Yes. And it's something that not enough people are talking about, or if they're talking about it, they talk about it as, toxic and healthy shame. And I don't buy any of that at all. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Awesome. Because I'd love to hear your insight on all of this stuff. And you do, speaking of the shame, you talk about the inner narcissist as our shame voice. Can you explain a little bit what you mean by that inner narcissist?
Well, I mean, we live in a world that's basically running. It's like a narcissistic world, basically. You can see world leaders, they have so many narcissistic tendencies, characteristics. Yeah, I mean, we can see it everywhere we look. And it's kind of in the air we breathe. We worship narcissists in our culture, and the whole empire is built around this narcissistic structure. And it's in our families, dysfunctional families. We have this, and I realized that my mother is very likely a covert narcissist. And I had this system going on in families where there's the scapegoat, there's the enabler, there's the golden child. And I realized that I was the scapegoat. So I realized this is kind of pervasive. It fractals out and it also fractals inwards. And this is the idea of the narcissist. Because I had a really heavy inner narcissist since as far back as I can remember. I was shaming myself. This voice was like, you're not good enough, you're not worthy. At school, I remember constantly feeling embarrassed and going red. And I built all these walls so that people couldn't get in, became very avoidant and sexually avoidant and emotionally love avoidant as well, because of this shame that I was carrying. And I realized that it's not just an inner critic. This is actually a narcissist, and it ticks all the boxes of especially a covert narcissist. It pretends to care about you, but it's really just protecting yourself. It's really all about control. It love bombs you and says, oh, you're doing great. And then it tears you down, moves the goalposts. You have to, as long as you do that, then you'll be good enough. And then when you get there, you're never good enough. It manages your image. It gaslights you as well. It makes you question your reality.
Absolutely.
It makes you question your reality. So it's not just an innocent critic that's trying to keep you safe and that's all innocuous and that you need to sit down with and have tea with and empathize with. People tell you not to try to do that with narcissists out there in the world, but yet with the narcissist that we've internalized, we're told to sit down with it, feel the shame, really empathize with it, this wounded part of ourselves. But I realize this part is not, it's talking to it, empathizing with it, feeling the shame. It just leads to more shame. It's like a bottomless pit of shame. And empathizing with it, feeling it, it just gives it narcissistic supply, just like the narcissist out there in the world.
So how does, with us feeling shame, how is it the way that we protect ourselves? Is that kind of what people are doing, is when they are feeling that shame, they're protecting themselves?
Yeah, it's really funny because shame, it's weaponized in our culture. You see it everywhere. We do it as parents, we do it to ourselves. The child does something you don't like. Oh, you stupid girl. It's so automatic. We shame ourselves if we drop something. I'm so stupid. And I've lost track of the question. What was the question again?
I'm just saying, how can having shame be a way to protect ourselves from all of that? It's just
So this is the thing. It's used as a weapon, and we also use it as a shield, because we unconsciously think, and this is what I realized I was doing from a very young age. I thought that if I shame myself first, then nobody else can hurt me more. I'll shame myself. I'll get in there first, punch myself in the face, and then it won't hurt when other people do it. So it's not logical, but it's emotional. It's an emotional defense. It's very dysfunctional, but I know that I'm not the only one who does this, and we all kind of internalize it as a way of shielding ourselves. So it's like a weapon and a shield, and it just makes us smaller. And the common wisdom is that, a little bit of shame is good for you. That's the common conventional wisdom out there in Western psychology. And I'm saying, no, this is a Eurocentric idea, because shame has been normalized, but that's different from it being normal. Shame, especially the internalized shame that I'm talking about, it's very European idea that really you can bring back to Christianity. This idea of original sin, I'm a sinner. In other cultures, they don't have that. They have a slightly different shade of shame, which is more collective shame. You have to, if you step out of line, then you're shaming the family or something like that. It's a little bit different. Also toxic, but the internalized shame that we have in the West is particularly malignant, in my opinion. And no amount of it is good. No amount of shame is good.
No, and I see it in my practice all the time, especially like you mentioned about the religious aspect of it, the religious shame when it comes to intimacy and sex. It keeps people from being who they are, and they are holding on to this. And like you said, they're saying things about themselves in a bad way ahead of what they'll get from somebody else. Because like, if I stay ahead of it, then I don't have to feel as bad, because I'm already telling myself this is how I feel. So how is it different than just having a negative mindset? Because someone might say, oh, well, you're always so negative, or, you're thinking of it negative. How would you say that shame is different than just being negative?
Well, this is why it's not a mindset thing. It's not just a voice in your ear. And this is why shame is so malignant. It's like a full body. It's not even an emotion. It's like something that takes you over. It's like an invader. Like I see it as a parasite, or as some kind of, something that sucks you dry. It's like a leech. It does you no good. But
it freezes you.
It freezes you, exactly. It hijacks your nervous system.
Right.
And I think in Western culture particularly, we have a bad case of Stockholm syndrome with this thing. We've like We're taking it in for tea and cucumber sandwiches when we should be saying, no, this is not me. Goodbye. And that takes away its power. You know, it breaks the, we're in this kind of shame trance in our culture. And most people, it's like a fish in water. We're breathing it in, but we don't even know that it's there because it's everywhere, you know?
How do people distinguish the difference between like just everyday signs that they're feeling that shame versus just being negative? Is there certain signs that they should look for in themselves?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And yeah, is all sense, the shame is this feeling there's something wrong with me. So if you've ever thought that or felt that or get embarrassed or, you know, shame yourself, if the voice in your head or that feeling, you know, when you make a mistake, when you do something wrong, do you shame yourself, or does your body go into a shame response like flight, fright, and fawn? These are all signs that shame, it's kind of like a marionette. It's like it's pulling the strings on what you do and on your life. And so shame, I believe that shame is running all of us, particularly in the West. Is just to what extent
Right.
we're conscious of it. A lot of people, especially men, are very kind of disconnected to their shame. I think women are more connected to their shame, but that doesn't mean it's not driving men as well. It is, but they've compartmentalized it more. Like
I was
this
going to say,
idea.
I see it more with women.
Yes,
Obviously.
yeah. It's much more obvious. But with men, this is the idea of hustle culture. You got to fight, you got to strive, you got to be the provider in your family. You can see it is very shame focused, but it's much more hidden, and they're not aware of it to the same degree as women, of this thing called shame.
Right. And I also think that the more that men would maybe show some of their shame, they may be looked at differently because of society. It
Yeah,
may be emasculating for them.
exactly.
And so
Whereas
they
it's
don't
more
show it as much.
permissible for women to feel it, but it's running men, it's running everyone, but it's just to what degree you're connected, to what degree it's visible.
Right, right. Well, you say that you work with a lot of high achieving women or strong women or whatever, you know, when you have someone that is maybe so confident in business. I have a lot of people that I work with that they're go-getters, they're strong, or they're doctors, or they're lawyers. And these are women that are high powered, you know, high achieving
Yeah.
women. But then they come into the office and they feel so small. They don't feel beautiful. They talk bad about their bodies. And so, like we were talking about, is it negative versus shame? But there is a lot of shame that I see from these women that you would expect to be so strong.
Yeah, it's in your body. It's the nervous system. It's not just the mind. I think the mind
So
is
it's literally in there
it's
feeding.
in your body. It's like it's like the takeover of your body. And this is why lots of women really struggle with orgasm. It is that idea of shame. It just takes you over.
Yeah.
And a lot of self-aware women really struggle. So you might know all the stories. This was me. I knew all the stories, why I'm like this, you know, and covered the narcissism in my family, but still struggling with it because it's not about knowing. It's not about understanding. Intellectualizing is another way that we compartmentalize ourselves and not allow ourselves to feel and release this thing. It's like it's got us in freeze mode, you know, and we
Yeah.
don't even recognize it. It's like we're living our lives in a straitjacket, and we're just being taught to kind of put some pearls on it or polish the cage that we're in. You know, a lot of the healing or the therapy that I did, I felt like it's kind of everyone's operating from in this shame structure. You know, so they're telling you how to deal with the shame, how to manage the shame, rather than eject it and recognize that it's not you and just exorcise it, you know, like an
Because
exorcist.
it makes you feel sometimes worse because you're like, why can't I get rid of this? I feel crappy. I have so many women that their shame will not, like you talked about the orgasm, they will be so embarrassed or feeling shame about how they look because someone
Yeah.
may one day have told them that they looked funny or they sounded funny. And so they won't allow themselves to move or to moan or make faces. And they just feel so like, oh, we're not supposed to be enjoying this because I'm supposed to just be having sex to please my partner. And so
Exactly.
it's a lot of that.
It's all we're in the pleasing everyone else mode.
Yeah.
The shame is like your feelings aren't as important. You want to keep everyone else. You want to perform so that everyone else will feel good. It's a classic trauma response.
Yeah.
And I've noticed with myself and with the women that I work with, to break out of that, you've got to recognize that this shame that takes you over, or the voice, it's not you, it's not your protector. It's more like a narcissist, like a covert narcissist that says, under the guise of, I'm trying to keep you safe so that you won't feel bad. But it's all about control and feeding itself.
What do? Just tell it to screw off?
Well,
like, get out of here. Leave me alone.
I know it sounds silly, but we've got to break the trance of it. It's like a trance. It's a spell that we're under. So I have a system. It's BREAK, break. Okay. So B, when it comes up, like the voice in your head or that feeling, and you feel yourself kind of going into shame, recognizing that it's not what it is. This isn't your voice. This isn't your shame. It's like a spell. It's like a trance state. It's not normal and natural. Catch it, interrupt it, just name it for what it is. And I found what's key is not identifying it, because so many of us, we've been trained to talk about I tell myself, I freeze myself. This isn't you. This is something that's kind of taken you over and put you in a trance. So that interrupts it instantly. Then you go on to R. You refuse to engage with it. You don't give it any explanations or defense. You just drop the rope entirely.
That's where I said, just screw off.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because so many of us we're told with narcissists out there that you need to break the rope with them, right. Not try to argue with them, and that's what we do a lot of the times with this voice or with this shame. We go in, and Dr. Ramani, who's the narcissist guru, she talks about deep, don't defend, don't engage, don't explain, and don't personalize. You can simply say, not today. Not today.
You're literally talking to yourself. You're
talking to the narcissist.
To the narcissist, right.
It's not you. It's something that's like an invasive.
You have to pretend that there's some creature that you just say, get away and
yeah.
Get rid of it.
I'll tell you, it takes some practice, but it really does work. Then you go on to E, expose the lie. Call out the shame-based programming, recognize that it's all about control. It's not about keeping you safe, like keeping you quiet in your orgasm. It's not protecting you in any way. It's protecting itself. And every time you perform for it, you give it more supply. So you want to speak it and disarm it. And then you want to anchor it in your body, like come back to your body, into your breath, because the shame, that narcissist, it takes you out of your body. It takes you into your head, out of it. So come into your body with your breath. Plant your feet, name and what's your name, what year are we in, really remind your nervous system that you're safe, that you're sovereign, and that you're here. And then finally, K is kick it out, like shake it off, say, this isn't mine. And just shake it off, realize that it's not you. Because so much of this that I've found in my own life and with the women that I work with, it's this identification with that shame, that it's me, that it's somehow mine. This is inherited trauma, and women have a bigger dose of it than men because of all the trauma that's been put on women and women's bodies. You're too fat, you're too thin, you're too, your eyes aren't the right size, you have too many wrinkles, you have too much cellulite, anything and everything. And you've got to start.
Even just sexually, you're too slutty, you're not slutty enough.
Slut shaming. Nobody does that with men. Men are allowed to do whatever they want.
You got it.
Yeah, it's such a double standard. So we carry all of that, and it's heavy. It's heavy. It's really, really heavy. So women, we carry a heavier load of shame than men. There's no doubt about that. And if you've been scapegoat in your family, or if you're from a group that's been scapegoat as a culture, you carry that as well. But women as a whole, we have also been scapegoated by men. All of the sexual stuff, it's all dumped on men. All the feelings about about the self. All the shame that men feel, they dump it on women so they don't have to address
They
it.
don't have to deal with it. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we all do when we feel shame. We either internalize it and make me bad and agree with it, or we find someone else. Someone else, so it's the immigrants' fault.
And I think that's where the judgment comes in. That's where so much of society is judging, is because there's something within you that's judging you that you're not comfortable with.
Exactly. And it's like, this is why I talk about, I have written about this on Substack, about how it's like a matrix of narcissism and shame in our culture that just reinforces this shame that we're feeling internally. And it becomes, it's so natural and normal. Everybody shames everybody. We shame ourselves. It's accepted as the normal kind of, but it's always a fuel for control and domination. It's never about growth or expansion or becoming a better person. That's a lie. That's a mask that shame wears to control you. Just like the narcissist that smacks you and punches you and tells you you're stupid and then says, "Oh, I'm just doing it for your own good." You know, it's false. And we want to expose that lie so we can take back our power. This is not protecting you in any way.
I love that. I love that. Well, we're going to continue on with this great conversation because it's definitely needed. I'm just going to take a quick 1-minute commercial break and we'll be back in just a minute.
Looking to reignite passion, deepen intimacy, or overcome challenges in your sex life? Meet Dr. Stacy Friedman, a clinical sexologist and certified sex coach with over 20 years of medical and coaching experience, dedicated to helping individuals and couples build more connected, confident, and satisfying intimate lives. From performance anxiety and desire mismatch to communication struggles and curiosity about pleasure and identity, Dr. Stacy creates a safe, judgment-free space for real transformation. Her unique blend of medical insight and compassionate coaching welcomes all, whether you're single, partnered, poly, queer, straight, exploring, or rediscovering yourself. Through one-to-one coaching, she helps clients explore their desires, break through barriers, and embrace a more empowered sexual self. And the best part? She offers a complimentary 15-minute consultation to ensure it's the right fit. Visit drstacyfriedman.com to schedule your free call today. Dr. Stacy Friedman, where her passion is to help you create yours.
And we're back. I wanted to talk a little bit about the nervous system, because you were saying that it's not really our mindset. It's literally in our nervous system.
Yeah.
And I know that just even sexually, especially, our nervous system can go on overload. And it's so important to be able to, feel safe in our nervous system. And, why is that so different than just changing our mindset? Because what is the difference between the nervous system making us feel unsafe or safe? Does that make sense?
Yeah, the nervous system is your whole body. And it's like, when I talk about shame, it doesn't just it comes into your mind. It might say things like, "Oh, you're an idiot," or "You're a fool," or "You've got a big nose," or "You look stupid," or whatever. But the real thing that freezes you is not that. It's the body reaction. It's the vagus nerve. It's your body goes into, that's where you tense up. And that's
that literal.
Yeah, you literally clench and you stop yourself from fully relaxing and surrendering to the moment, whatever that might be. And it's a lack of trust. It's a total lack of trust. When you're in shame, this is the interesting thing. Like the common wisdom, like I said, says that you need a little bit of shame in order to not be a psychopath, or you need to. But I mean, it's completely. The Brene Brown says that.
Yeah.
This is the common wisdom says that you need a little bit of shame. It's like saying you need a little bit of poison, because shame is always toxic. And it says, "I'm bad, something wrong with me." How can that ever be positive? If you think there's something wrong with you, what can you do? There's nothing you can do about this. And this is why the religious double bind that I was talking about, where there's something wrong with the original sin, but you have to forgive. It's like a double bind that you can never escape from. And this is why it's so toxic. And this is why it's so normalized in therapy. Like they talk about, positive shame and toxic shame, because it is everywhere. It's like the undercurrents of our culture. But just because it is normalized and just because it's pervasive doesn't mean that it's normal or natural. Because if you look at other cultures, non-European cultures, tribes in the Amazon or in Australia, for example, they didn't have this same shame at all. It overrides, and it's not a normal emotion either. It overrides everything.
And it's something that many people have been taught from day one. And so when it's so much
exactly
trained in your mind and your body,
we are trained to shame ourselves,
right,
especially as women. We're trained in shame. Shame is like the language of control that you see everywhere. And we practice it with ourselves. It's because it's natural. Right. And we shame ourselves to protect ourselves from being shamed by someone else. We get in there early, and that's why we freeze in the sexual act, because we're like, oh God, if I shame myself, then it won't hurt so much when they make those nasty remarks or whatever else is going
right.
on, whatever else thoughts are going on. We beat them to the punch, but it's completely false. We deprive ourselves of that pleasure. And of that
there's so much missing.
There's so much missing. Shame is a thief. Shame is a leech. Shame is a parasite. It's not something that we want to give any energy fuel, any energy to. It's like narcissist. You don't give it any supply. You just say no. And I'm not saying it's easy, because
it's not.
It's not easy, because it takes some time, because you've been practicing this shame since day zero, since day one of your life. You've been taught through shame. If a baby does something wrong, a lot of time people are a child, you shame them. It's natural,
right,
because it's a quick way to get people to do what you want. And it works.
Right.
It works, but it has a toxic after effect.
It's true. And I remember growing up, for me, I was very, listen, I'm a sexologist. I was a very sexual being growing up. And I remember that there were a lot of people that tried to shame me. And I don't know if it was just because I was getting it from others, but yet I was getting a lot of the positive from my family. So maybe it didn't affect me as much. But I remember just, how many people did you sleep with? You did that with this person? You did. And I'd be like, I sure did. And I was like proud to be who I was. And it's not always very easy for people to do that.
No.
And so not easy at all. And so, I try to get people to, when they come in and they have these stories that they keep telling themselves I say, write your own story, start your new books, write your own chapter. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be? And be that person. I know it may not be that easy. But this is why this conversation is so good, because all of the helpful tips that you can give to help people. What are some common trauma responses that people don't always recognize, besides maybe that pulling away or that voice?
Yeah, going into the freeze. Another one. I met someone recently who has no boundaries. So when her body goes into that response, she basically,
almost the opposite.
It's the opposite, exactly. She just opens up, and she has, I could probably talk about this here. She's been raped by a lot of, she just kind of attracts that energy.
And disassociates, probably. And
disassociates completely. And she attracts those predators, because she has the corresponding energy, because of her traumatic history. So it's really heartbreaking to see that, and to see how it plays out again and again, not just sexually, but by people kind of preying on her. And that's the contrast. I had the other problem, building too thick walls,
right,
too firm boundaries. And then there's the other one where just no boundaries, and just anyone people can smell that a mile off. And
well, it's almost like if I let them do it, then it's not going to happen to me against my will.
Yeah. It's underneath it, you can trace it back to this shame, because it's it's my fault. So many things. So so many things, mental health issues, addictions, they can all be traced back to shame. And that's why, I'm so surprised that, there's this idea of positive and negative shame, when shame, in my view, and there's no evidence that there is any positive shame. No, there's no evidence for that, because it shuts down our ability to empathize and connect with people. When we're in that shame response, we're disconnected from ourselves, so we can't connect to other people. It shuts down the empathy thing, because it's all about survival. It puts us into survival mode. So
you notice it in friendships too, not even just relationships. You can
yes, everywhere. Shame, and you see it online. Shaming is the currency of online interactions, and it's clickbait. It's exciting for people. We're a very shame-based culture, and that's why it's so toxic here.
It's unfortunate, but you had talked about in some of your work the trauma matrix.
Yes.
How is that something that helps anybody or women get unstuck from where they're at?
Well, I think for me, recognizing, I talk about how it's fractals. So within family systems, we have this narcissistic dynamic where you have the narcissist or the head dysfunctional one, then you have the enabler and the scapegoat.
That's your matrix. Got it.
And you can see how it fractals everywhere, like the victim triangle. You see how it's everywhere, and how in your family, if you were the chosen scapegoat, it's not so much that your family were like, "Ooh, let's think about this." It's a system thing, and it's reinforced everywhere. Yeah, it's a system thing. They need someone to dump their trauma, and you were the sensitive one. You could handle it, so you got it. And then that scapegoat goes on into adulthood carrying all those wounds, and they can become the truth tellers, or they can also find someone else to dump their stuff on, find the next scapegoat. And we can see this same, like I talked about fractals, you can see it in families. You can see the same kind of triangulation happening in corporations, in communities, in governments, in intergovernment systems. So like if you look at the world politics and what's going on now, you can see how this same kind of scapegoat dynamic that's all driven by shame is playing out everywhere. So it's not just in the internal, it's everywhere. It fractals out, it's everywhere. It's like a hall of mirrors. So
you said it's like not a disease, or what did you call it? A nasty.
Yeah. It's a parasite,
Parasite, yeah. I like this.
It leeches off people, and it gets energy like that, just like the narcissist. Because our world, especially the Western world, it's built on narcissistic structures and systems, and it defends the narcissist, and that requires someone needs to be shamed. That was women. That's Black people. That's Indigenous people. That's someone needs to be othered, because white people, we don't want to digest our own shame. We've got to find someone else to dump it on. So this is a wider problem, and this is why dealing with your own internal shame. It's a very powerful way to get free, and it's simple, but it's not easy. It takes a bit of support.
It's definitely not easy, but it does sound like a simple concept.
It's a very simple concept, but it takes some kind of coaching of yourself and being in a community where you can bring your shame to light. That's the thing, because so often when we feel shame, we hide it. We don't talk about it. We push it down. We pretend it's not happening. We compartmentalize it, and it just
feel less than, and we don't want people to look down upon us.
Exactly. But when we call out the shame, when we talk about the shame like we're doing now, talking about I felt shame when this happened, nobody, I can't be shamed by that anymore. And this is the amazing thing. The more we free ourselves of this inner narcissist, the more immune we become to people shaming us on the outside. Because think about it, if someone says, "Oh, or your body is disgusting, or you're so fat," we only feel shame when that narcissistic voice inside says, "Yes, you're so
yes,
fat."
You are.
Yeah. Otherwise, we just laugh at them. You think I'm fat? Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah, good for you. It doesn't affect us. So this is the key to everything. Nobody can shame you when you free yourself of this leech that's got us all in a stranglehold to various degrees. And this is where it all starts. This is how we reclaim our freedom and take back our power fully.
Yeah, it lets us be us. Lets us be.
And people can say anything. We'll just be like, "Oh, that's fine. You can think what you want, mate." You'll just laugh at them, but we don't shame ourselves. they can try again tomorrow, you know.
It's their word, which means nothing.
Exactly. I was
That's
speaking
kind of
to
that
someone.
attitude you have to have.
Exactly. They like, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about these children who were eating ice creams and may have been fat, and someone went up to them and tried to fat shame them and say, you shouldn't be eating ice cream, you'll get fat. And they just laughed because they didn't believe it. But somebody else, yeah, let me just eat some more. Yeah, you freaking fool. You know,
Yeah.
that could have been a trauma for someone. That could have
absolutely.
But only because you have that inner narcissist that agrees. It's like a lock and a key.
Right.
If you have freed yourself, the more you free yourself of this inner narcissistic voice, it's like you're vaccinating yourself. You become immune to people shaming you from the outside. They can say what they want, and you know they can say what they want. It's not going to affect you.
The more and more people that we can help in that way, or that you can help in that way, is going to be, it just makes the world a better place, because then you get rid of the judgment, you get rid of that, like you said, that sadness, that loneliness that people have when they feel all that shame. It's just a sad place to be, especially when I know I have people walking in my office that are so incredibly beautiful, not just on the inside, but just on the outside as well. And they come in, they're like, oh, my body is yucky, my boobs are yucky, my hair. I'm just like, God, this person is beautiful. And they just can't see themselves in that way. And if we can just get rid of all of that shame and just see ourselves the way we were born, I mean, it's just,
yeah. Children aren't born with shame. It's taught.
Right. It's taught.
It's taught. We have grief, we have sadness, we have all the other things, but shame is like an implant.
Right.
And it's not normal or natural. And I feel like just knowing that, it can really give you back your power if you take that in. And when you notice the shame kind of monster coming on, just recognizing that can be really, really powerful. If you really embed what I'm talking about and really take it in, it can really help you take back your power.
Right. And that's what I say for people sexually too. When people have, whether it be shame or just embarrassment or whatever they have with that, you know, I said, we are born as a sexual being. You have society smushing you. You have religion smushing you. You have your parents smushing you. You have everybody smushing the sexual being. If you take all those layers away and just be who you were when you were born, you know, you can feel that freeness. And I think that's just something that people want to be.
Exactly. And embarrassment is just a light shame. So embarrassment is shame as well.
Shame, and just a different name.
It's just a different name for shame. Because we have so much shame. I remember as a child, like being so embarrassed. If people looked at me, I'd go bright red. It gives your body.
Like, what are they looking at? What's wrong with me?
What's wrong with me? Because I had that belief embedded, not just into my mind, but into every atom, cell, and molecule of my being, that there's something wrong with me. When people look at me, they're going to find out. So embarrassment, it's just shame. Name the shame. Name the shame. Recognize that it's not you, and take back your power.
Do you said stuff on your profile about somatic healing work? Do you do somatic healing work?
This is working with the body, working with the breath, working with the voice, and also grief. You know, there's so much like if you've been stuck in narcissistic systems, you might realize, you know, the life that you could have had and that you didn't have. So there's a process of grieving and releasing that needs to happen. And we don't want to give any more space for the shame, but this grief and this sadness, it needs to be given a voice, and physically a voice through a voice by speaking or singing or chanting.
How's that different than like regular therapy with what you're doing with, let's say, the somatic healing work?
Well, we're not just talking about it, we're actually feeling it and releasing it. So therapy is great too, but sometimes it can just kind of be in the head, you know, and you can get stuck there. Whereas we wanted to free the whole body. So this means kind of connecting with the body or reconnecting with the body.
And actually feeling things.
Yeah, feeling the emotions that are in your body. They're not just in your head, those emotions.
And crying and
crying,
getting it all out.
The rage, which I think is not socially acceptable. And, you know, when people feel uncomfortable when you're in your rage, you know, because it's not not socially acceptable to feel rage, but that's part of your healing journey. And, rage until you get to grief, and then, express your grief, and it's in spirals. So it's about releasing it through the body, reconnecting with your body, because as a culture, we've been taught to disconnect. And I think that's a huge part of why so many women really struggle with surrendering and, fully releasing themselves to orgasm, for example, because it requires that you just abandon all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you go back to that ego death. It's scary when our whole lives are built around this idea of ego and shame and shaming and weaponization of guilt and shame. It's become like a barrier. So letting it
keeps people. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, not only does it keep people from sex, it just keeps people from love and relationships.
Exactly.
And
I know all about that because I was love avoidant.
Right.
So this is about like feeling so much shame that I just didn't let people in, and that was the way when people got too close, I would feel even platonically, I would get very uncomfortable and not know what that was about. But even knowing it and having psychoanalyzed it didn't help me so much. I had to do the work through my body. It's not just intellectual. I'm one of my avoidance techniques, as I'll raise my hand here, is intellectualization, reading books, talking about it, doing counseling, understanding it to death, analyzing it to death. And for me, it didn't lead to freedom. That was just step one. I had to work with the body and actually feel it in my body and release these emotions that have been trapped there, and express that grief, express that rage through the body, through actions, through singing, chanting, all of those things.
I mean, people do that even just with, let's say, depression or anxiety. The more that you're holding in, your body physically has issues, stomach aches. It could build all these toxins in your body. So being able to actually let it out, and not just changing the mind, but changing the body and how you can let it out, I think it makes so much sense on how to heal in ways that normal talk therapy may not be able to help.
Yeah, and it's about also being in community, I feel like is really helpful, like talking about these things, feeling supported, because so many women struggle with feeling supported and shameful things they can't talk about, but when you're in a community, or when you have someone that you can talk about and really open yourself to, that alleviates the shame already.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people feel alone. So it's nice to have that community. So we're going to take one more quick little break for a minute, and then we'll be back and finish talking with Emma. Thank you.
Let's talk about toys. No, not the ones from your childhood. We're talking about the ones that make your bedroom way more fun. Whether you're flying solo or sharing the sheets with a partner or two, it's time to explore what a little buzz, tingle, or tease can do for your connection, your confidence, and your pleasure. Dr. Stacy isn't just a clinical sexologist and certified sex coach. She's also your personal guide to a whole world of adult play. On her website, you'll find thousands of carefully curated items to explore your wild side or deepen intimacy with your partner. From lubes and lotions to vibrators, bondage, lingerie, and more, everything is high quality, discreetly shipped, and handpicked with your pleasure and comfort in mind. Because here's the truth. Pleasure is healthy, toys are normal, and adding a little spice to your love life can actually strengthen your relationship, improve communication, and boost your overall well-being. So go ahead, explore your fantasies, try something new, and turn up the heat. Click the shop link at drstacyfriedman.com and start your pleasure journey today. Dr. Stacy Friedman, where passion meets play.
And we're back. So speaking of, we were talking about like the love avoidance. You said you had a story where you were kind of going through some of that as well, and then you were able to get yourself out of it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I struggled. I even went through 12 steps for that. And again, it didn't really, like, love avoidance and sex and love addiction. And the flip side of that is like anorexia, where you will love anorexia or love avoidance. So it's kind of just the flip side of it. And again, all of that can be traced back to internalized shame. So yeah, and it's something that, you know, all of these addictions that people have, they're all symptoms. And I noticed that in our culture, we're trying to heal symptoms rather than get to the source of the wound, which is this internalized shame that so many of us are carrying. And it's time that we dissociated and disconnected to it, because it's not normal, it's not natural, and it's time to reclaim our truth and our freedom. So yeah, that has been a huge part of my story, because it wasn't safe for me as a child, as the invisible child. I was the invisible child and also the scapegoat. So my survival strategy was to just create that distance and not let anyone in. So my healing has been about, you know, taking down those walls, being in community, reaching out, actually talking about things when I need help, and then receiving. Receiving, it was a huge part of it for me. I struggled with receiving, and I think that's a huge part of why women struggle with money and pleasure. It's about receiving. It's not about.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's
Yeah.
like, why is it so hard for women to receive, whether it be compliments, pleasure, love, you know, and a lot of that, it seems like it stems down to the shame and not feeling worthy enough.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it was in my case. And I feel like in a lot of people's cases, you can connect it back to shame, because if you believe that there's something unworthy about me, there's something inherently bad about me, you don't want other people to see you, because then you're going to be found out that for sure that you are unworthy or that you're no good. So you prefer to keep people at a distance so they'd never find out for sure. And yeah, it's shame. Shame is sure I talk about the trauma matrix, and shame is the code of this. It's the coding of this system. Also out there in the wider fractals, like in the governments and it's again shame weaponized.
I see a lot of it, you know, people see a lot of it if you pay attention all over the world, you know, and so many different things. I know people will come into my office and the partner will give one partner, you know, usually the male will give the female a compliment, and they don't know how to say thank you. They don't know how to appreciate, oh, you're just saying that because you're my husband, or, you know, things like that. So hopefully we can get people to find that deep strength inside and get it off our nervous systems to be able to get that pleasure and feel enjoyment.
Yeah. And recognizing that this shame is a parasite, naming it and recognizing it. Name and shame. You don't want, I suppose you want to shame the shame. It's not you. Get it out, you know. It's not you. It's not real. It's like it's a matrix of control, and you can see it everywhere out there in the world. It's normal that you inherited and that you took it on, because it's a currency of control here. And, you know, it gives you some illusion of power and control, because you're keeping yourself, you know, safe, even though it's not happy. But when you break that bond, or it's really a trauma bond that we have going on with shame, you reclaim so much. You reclaim your pleasure, you reclaim your right to receive compliments. You can start practicing with compliments. Give yourself compliments, you know, like instead of start looking for the good things in your life, and look for the little moments of pleasure and start receiving it consciously. Just don't need to say anything.
Yeah, people have a hard time giving themselves compliments all the time. I one of my exercises in my office is when people are not feeling good about their bodies, or they can't find something. I'm like, well, what do you love about yourself? I don't know.
Think of anything, yeah.
Can't think of anything. And I'm like, just, you know, when you go home, look in the mirror. I said, just even take a look at your earlobes. Take a look at your hair. Take a look at your smile. Take a look at your eyelashes. It doesn't have to be like, you know, your body. Just something. Just keep that positive, you know, voice heard. Because
start small. Yeah.
Start small with just little things. And then, you know, just say, okay, I love how my hair trails on my breast. You know, it doesn't have to be that you like your boobs, but you just like the way your hair flows on it. You know, little things. And I try to tell people to speak it out loud, because the universe will hear that. because so many times we're talking bad about ourselves, and, that's the energy you're bringing back to yourself. So I think
Exactly. And take time for self-care. I love that, what you said, Dr. Stacy.
Yeah.
Also, you can like massage yourself, give yourself massages, go and get massages, tell
go in a
yourself,
bathtub,
yeah,
touch.
go in a bathtub, touch yourself,
Yeah.
give yourself an orgasm, give yourself the gift of pleasure. And
Masturbation is the best gift of love you can give yourself, for women mostly, for
yeah,
men too. But, women don't do that enough because there's so much shame. There's so much shame in their bodies. There's shame in touching. We were taught as young girls that, little girls don't do those things, especially if a little boy gets caught masturbating, the mom's like, oh, you just have to do that privately. If a little girl gets caught, there's many parents like, you don't do those things, and it's like, it starts that young.
Such a double standard. And this is why women are stuck with more shame,
Right.
and more active shame than men.
Yeah.
Because we are shamed more. We have been scapegoated by the culture. So it's not just you. Everyone's got this shame, because when you're having that shame outbreak, where the voices got really malignant. And what I realized is that, the ultimate act of self-erasure, it can only happen because you have this narcissistic voice that says that you might as well not be here, so
Right.
it's without that, it doesn't matter what happens to you, anything can happen to you, and you'll still, not want to go there. So shame is an implant. It's toxic. It's not you. It's not who you are. And it doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't keep you safe from anything. It keeps you safe from your pleasure.
In prison,
It's a cage. It's like a straitjacket, and everybody's wearing the straitjacket, so we think it's normal, but it's not. And people are trying to, do therapy from inside the cage. They're talking to you from inside the cage how to rearrange the furniture. But what you really want to do is get out of the freaking cage. It's time.
So speaking of getting out of the cage, what is something small that maybe you can offer to the listeners that they can do to start building, let's say, their own self-trust, to know that they can get out of the cage? I know that you talked about those 5 signs, right? The was it called break?
Oh, yes, I do. I have a free gift for people, for your listeners.
Wonderful.
It's called 5 Signs It's Time to Break Up with Your Inner Narcissist. So if you feel like the shaming voice inside you, or the shaming entity, let's call it the leech, the parasite within you, is a little bit more than just an inner critic, this free gift is for you. It's 5 signs it's time to break up with your inner narcissist. And it also gives you tools and strategies about how to make that happen, above and beyond what we've talked about here today. So definitely check that out.
Where can they find it? What's your website? Give us some information on how we can find it.
It's you can find that at tinyurl.com/not today narc. So not today narc, and that's the way you could talk about it when this narcissist, see it as a narcissist,
You stick your middle fingers up too.
Yeah, you can, if that gives you power, if that gives you back your tower, tell it to F off,
Yeah.
But for me, when the shame has attacked, like the other day, I was cycling somewhere and I was running late, and I noticed the shame started to kind of attack me, and oh my God, what's she going to think? And this is, you stay neutral and just say, not today, goodbye, not mine. So you don't even have to get drawn into any, just like with the narcissist out there in the world, if you get angry or whatever, they can get power from that. So just being neutral and say, not today.
That's great. Great advice. I will have your link in our information, so that way people can go there and they can sign up and get your helpful break, your 5 signs that it's time to break up with your inner narcissist. And I just wanted to thank you for chatting with us today. And really, I hope that everything resonates with a lot of people out there, because they definitely need to get rid of the shame to be able to have a good intimate life, good friendships, good business sense, good sex, all that stuff, since we see it in everyday life. And so I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, it's time to reclaim your shameless, because shameless, it's used as a slur for people. And people who are shameless are actually carrying a lot of unprocessed shame. So we want to reclaim that world and
Reclaim your shame.
reclaim your shameless. Now is the time.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, Emma. And wow, what a great, great show. Powerful episode. Emma gave us so much to think about, feel through, and start working with. We talked about shame as survival and how trauma shapes our nervous system and how reclaiming safety leads to more intimacy, pleasure, and authentic power. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to follow Emma. We will have her information in our information as well. Check out her program, Evict the Narc Within, and her free guide. Make sure you download that free guide, which is the 5 signs that it's time to break up with your inner narcissist. And you can find all her info in the show notes. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it with anyone that could use this information, your friends, your family. Tag us on Instagram, all the social media, and let us know your favorite moments that may have connected with you. Follow me on social media at Dr. Stacy Friedman, and I'll see you next time on the Purple Passion Project. Until then, stay curious, stay turned on, and never apologize for wanting more. Thank you.
This has been the Purple Passion Project with host Dr. Stacy Friedman. Tune in each week as Dr. Stacy breaks down walls, busting myths, and gives you permission to want more with no shame, no filters, and definitely no small talk. Check in every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, on your favorite streaming platforms. We look forward to seeing you next time. Be sure to visit drstacyfriedman.com to learn more.